From ancient roots to modern treats, the bewitching tale of American Halloween. The jack-o'-lantern flickered on old Mrs. O'Malley's porch as she gathered the neighborhood children around her rocking chair. You want to know why Americans spend over $10 billion on Halloween each year? She asked, her eyes twinkling. Well, let me tell you about the most fascinating transformation in holiday history. Back in the misty hills of ancient Ireland, over 2,000 years ago, the Celtic festival of Samhain marked the end of harvest and the beginning of winter's darkness. The Celts believed that on October 31st, the boundary between the worlds of the living and the dead became as thin as a whisper. They lit bonfires and wore costumes made of animal skins to ward off wandering spirits. But how did this ancient Celtic festival become America's favorite spooky celebration? Little Tommy asked, adjusting his Batman mask. Mrs. O'Malley smiled. That's where the real magic begins. When Irish and Scottish immigrants fled the potato famine in the 1840s, they brought their Halloween traditions across the Atlantic. But America, being the great melting pot that it was, transformed these old customs into something entirely new. The tradition of carving turnips to ward off evil spirits became the pumpkin jack-o'-lantern, pumpkins being far more plentiful in America. The old practice of sowling, where poor people would beg for food, evolved into the cheerful trick-or-treating we know today. By the 1920s and 1930s, Halloween had become a community celebration, but it wasn't always the family-friendly festival we know now. Mrs. O'Malley continued, lowering her voice dramatically. Halloween mischief was so common that cities had to find ways to tame it. They encouraged parties, parades, and organized activities. The trick-or-treat became more of a playful threat than a real one. The baby boom of the 1950s transformed Halloween again. Suburban neighborhoods with their safe streets and close-knit communities became perfect for trick-or-treating. Television shows began featuring Halloween specials, and advertisers saw an opportunity. Candy companies created special Halloween treats, costume manufacturers developed mass-produced outfits, and decoration companies began creating spooky lawn ornaments. But what really made Halloween explode, Mrs. O'Malley said, reaching for her bowl of candy, was how it became a holiday for everyone. Adults realized they could join in the fun too. Halloween parties became popular, haunted houses sprang up everywhere, and costume contests weren't just for kids anymore. By the 1970s and 1980s, Halloween had become big business. Theme parks created special Halloween events, like Disney's Not-So-Scary Halloween Party and Universal's Halloween Horror Nights. Horror movies made October their favorite month for new releases. And now, Mrs. O'Malley gestured to the decorated houses along the street. Americans spend more on Halloween decorations than any holiday except Christmas. The average household spends over $100 on candy alone. Spirit Halloween stores pop up in empty storefronts every September. Social media has turned costume creation and decoration into an art form, with people planning their Halloween displays months in advance. The children looked around at their own costumes, store-bought superheroes mixed with homemade monsters and princesses. But why do we love it so much? Sarah asked, her fairy wings glittering in the porch light. Because Halloween lets us be whoever we want to be. Just for one night, Mrs. O'Malley answered. In a world full of rules and responsibilities, Halloween gives us permission to play pretend, to face our fears while knowing we're safe, and to come together as a community in celebration. It's the perfect mix of scary and sweet, ancient and modern, childlike wonder and grown-up fun. As if on cue, a group of trick-or-treaters appeared at the gate, their costumes glowing under the street lights. Mrs. O'Malley stood up, her own witch's hat slightly askew. And that, my dears, is how a Celtic harvest festival became America's favorite spooky celebration. Now, who's ready for some candy? The children cheered, and as they rushed off to join the other trick-or-treaters, the jack-o'-lantern's grin seemed to grow just a little bit wider, keeping watch over another Halloween night in America. Like, share, and subscribe for more interesting videos like this.